What's up, everyone? Coach Tony here. In this session, we have a special training for you about business this summer and AI in that combination. So, we invited one of our top speakers on this topic. He has an incredible resume. I'll let him introduce himself, but to speak on this topic, don't know anyone else better who can do this topic justice. So, without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and introduce Ray, who's going to go ahead and give you guys the intro to this presentation.
Hey everybody, welcome to this presentation by egelloC on how to start your first online business this summer with AI. So we're going to jump right into it. If you're here, this is what you're going to learn today. We're about to answer two questions. Can I launch my business in the summer? And will it help me get into my dream university and make my first real income? These are questions I wish I had the answer to when I was in high school, but unfortunately, don't want to date myself, but internet was barely a thing back then. So these options did not exist when I was just getting started out and when I was the age of most of you here. So before we get started, let's do the quick, who is this guy? Why should I listen to him? Why do I care? So my name is Ray Blakeney. I have a Bachelor of Science in Computer Engineering from Case Western Reserve University. I'm also the COO and CTO here at egelloC College Prep. So usually I'm behind the scenes, so most of the students don't ever actually get to see me. Over the last 20 years, I have built over 20 profitable online companies, and I've sold 4 of them. And right now, today, I'm also the online education mentor at the Harvard Innovation Lab in Boston. So I help a lot of college students launch their first businesses, whether they be an undergrad, master's, or even PhD students. If you Google my name online, you'll find me featured in Entrepreneur Magazine, Forbes, Miami Herald, and a number of other ones in podcasts around the place. So that is to say, I know a little bit about starting online businesses. And almost all of the businesses that I've started have been bootstrapped. And from those of you who don't know what that means, it means it was started with very little money. I know a lot of our students come from California, and there's the big story of going out and raising hundreds of millions of dollars to start your first business. I can tell you, I've launched multiple $1 million businesses with investments of about $50 or $100. Yes, it takes time. Yes, it takes work, but you don't need, despite what you read in the big magazines, all these big people, venture capitalists and angel investors to start your business. And today, high school students can do it. Even younger kids can do it with access of the internet and the right information. So what is the big opportunity? We're coming up on the end of the school year. Some of you might be in your finals already, taking AP exams and getting ready for the summer. So you have 2 options. You can use the summer to go and get a summer job, something like I did when I was in high school. I used to wash dishes in restaurants. Or you could spend this summer and actually build something meaningful. Build your own business. Not only will this help you improve your college application, it'll actually help you earn your own income, not only income for the summer, but income that can continue throughout your school year and maybe even throughout college. And the best part about doing an online business is you're going to learn skills that I wish I had learned when I was your age. You see, what most students don't stand out when they apply to colleges, and there's a number of reasons why. I don't have to tell most of you, but getting into college these days is getting more and more competitive than it's ever been before. Having good grades, a few extracurricular, and volunteer opportunities is just the bare minimum to get into most of these top universities. You really need to stand out. So if all you have, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing, is straight A's, that's not good enough anymore. Those days, unfortunately, are behind us. We have a lot of experience here at egelloC of people applying to universities and getting in. And one of the things that we see over and over again and hear from admissions officers is that they want to see that a lot of the students that are applying have real world skills. They show that they've taken initiative. They know how to do problem solving outside of the classroom. And one of the most important things of all, they showed leadership skills, leadership capabilities. If you're able to do that, you'll stand in front of and stand away from 99% of the applications that come in front of these people's desks. But let's get more specific. What are 3 skills that you can build? Yes, I went to college, but I still can't hold up 3 fingers correctly. I did 2 by accident. 3 skills that you can build by building your own business this summer. The first one is marketing, how to sell. I know that sounds intimidating to some people, but that's really a skill that you're going to use no matter what career you go into. Whether you want to go pre-med, whether you want to go engineering, whether you want to study liberal arts, learning marketing is a skill that will serve you in all of those fields. Problem solving, same thing. If you can show that you know how to solve problems, look for opportunities, and find ways to solve those opportunities, that's a skill that you can use not only in high school, but also in college, master's, PhDs, and in your career afterwards, no matter what that's going to be. And finally, leadership. Leadership is something that you're going to be using throughout your entire life. How to manage and work with other people, you're probably already doing that in high school, but it's sometimes very hard to show. When you run your own business, you'll absolutely be able to show it. When you get to college, I remember in my days in college, a lot of the projects, especially my junior and senior year, were group projects. And somebody needs to be the team lead for those group projects in order to get things to move forward. So having experience already puts you a step ahead when you go into that environment, and it'll help you succeed in college even more than you would already. And the best part is, these days with AI, starting an online business is easier than it's ever been. You have all the tools at your disposal to go and do this. So what we're going to do today is, in this quick training session, I'm going to show you how to use AI to not only find business idea, but also write out the outline for the business idea and make your website, the content of your website for you. We're not actually going to build the website, but doing that's easy. You can watch a 5-10 minute YouTube video after this on how to launch it in multiple different platforms. I'll even give you some platforms you can go and look into. So does everybody get it so far? If so, leave a yes in the comments over on the right in the chat room. Awesome. Great. So we'll continue. The first step in most online business is to come up with the idea. And unfortunately, most people get stuck at this step because they think they have to come up with the perfect idea on the first try. But one thing I want to be very clear about here, business in this sense is not that much like school. Because the problem with, well, the challenge in school is if you get it wrong, you might get a bad grade. But if you get something wrong in business, all you have to do is learn from it and then try again later. And there's no bad grade. The only failing you can do in business is giving up and not trying again. So if the first idea you have doesn't work out, it's okay. You will probably have learned a lot when you tried that idea. You just go to your second idea and you at least know that's not going to work. So I don't have to do that part. Let me try doing this over here. And maybe that one won't work either. But then let's go and try over here. And keep in mind, what we're going to learn today is how to do this for almost no money at all. So it's not like you're going to be spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, even $1,000, even a few $100s. You can usually do most of this for about $50 to $60. That's how much it costs to get like a website for a whole year. That's the entire cost. And you can reuse that website for all your business ideas. So it's not one website for every business idea. So exercise number one, I'd like everybody to do is go through this quick brainstorm. Because a lot of people think, especially if you're in high school, what can I do for a business? The first three questions I want you to ask yourself are, what do people ask you for help with? Or I guess you're talking to yourself. So what do people ask me for help with? What's something that I've learned and I'm really good at that I could teach other people? Maybe you play an instrument. Maybe you're really good at a sport. Maybe you're good at math. It doesn't matter. There's no right or wrong answer here. Just go through and make a list. And finally, what do you love doing? Go take out a piece of paper. Do kids even use paper anymore? If not, use your tablet, use your phone, put it all down, and write down what are some things that I love to do. This is just your starting point. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to write these three questions out, and you're going to make a list under each one. And I'm not saying spend 30 seconds, but some of the best answers come when you spend a few, 10, 20 minutes on the same question. So don't be afraid to go out there, find a quiet corner of your house, go out to the park, even at school, find a quiet corner, and just sit there for 10, 15 minutes and try to make the list as long as you can. The next step is we're going to go into AI. And the first thing we're going to build is what in the online business world is called an info product. Why is it that we're starting with an info product and we're not teaching e-commerce or how to write a software and a SaaS product and all of that? It's because an info product is usually the easiest thing to launch. It's very scalable and it helps you build authority. So even if your final product is not an info product, you can use an info product to start selling and then go from there and sell e-commerce. You can sell widgets. You can sell shoes. You can then build the software behind it and sell that because people already trust you and they already read your info product. And it's also one of the fastest things for us to launch. So if you're looking to launch something in just the summer, just a few weeks, and if you really sit down, you can probably do it in like 3 or 4 days. An info product is a great way to start. And I know this because I've been building education products for about 20 years. An info product has always been one of the cores of a launching of any one of these businesses that we've done. So, step number one, your first AI prompt. And don't worry, you don't have to take a screenshot. You don't have to copy this down. I'm going to share a link where you can find a document where all of these prompts are going to be there for you. And we're even going to go through this training and I'm going to walk you through like one iteration of this so that you can actually learn and see how it works. The first thing that we're going to go through and put into ChatGPT, and you can have a free account if you'd like for this, is what are some online businesses I can launch that involve delivering an info product, which can include an ebook, mini video courses, or even live teaching over Zoom around, and then you insert your interests in there. So whatever it is you're interested in, remember the first exercise when we went through the 3 questions, just go in there, comma delimited. It doesn't even have to be good grammar. You know, AI doesn't care about that. You just go through, put it all in there, this big long list, and have AI come and make proposals of different ebooks, mini courses, or even live classes that you can give and you can charge people for. That's step number one. We're going to go through the ideation. Then you go through that whole list and you pick the one that, at least for this first try, seems like it's the most interesting to you. That's number one. Whoops. There you go. And then you'll keep on iterating through all of that, right? So you'll ask it to brainstorm the topics and the titles and everything there. And we're going to actually give you some of the prompts for that. AI can do all of this for you. It can outline the content. It can develop and polish the writing. It can even create the graphics and the slides for the presentations. In fact, obviously, all these images here were generated by AI. So the next step is we're going to take that product idea that you chose, and we're going to use this prompt. Can you help me create an outline for an info product based on the product idea that you had? You put it in there, you insert it. I want to teach others how to what you teach. So then you get more specific. So let's just say you speak another language, Spanish, right? And you want to teach, so you want an info product based on teaching the Spanish language. I want to teach others how to use Spanish when they go on vacation to Mexico, or how to communicate with their family if they have relatives that are Spanish. So be very specific in what you want it to do, and then insert it in there. And then we'll ask AI to, can you break it down into clear modules with a description of the content for each? Copy and paste this into ChatGPT. One of the things is we're going to keep it in the same ChatGPT window so it remembers from the context window what happened earlier on. And it's going to remember everything there. So we don't have to go back and copy and paste everything that we've done in other places. Then we start going into the details because what that second prompt's going to do, it's going to come up with this course outline for you. And all we have to do in there, and since ChatGPT so far can't write the whole course for us because it stops after a certain amount of characters, we're going to say, write the outline, write out the detailed curriculum for module, whatever the numbers. 1 is the first one you can start, with a description of the content for every lesson, along with any resources for module 1. So it's going to not only do that, but it's going to recommend, hey, you should make this handout. You should make this video. You should make this spreadsheet that you can include with the module that you're going to be presenting to everybody there. Just keep on doing this through every single module that comes out in the outline in the first part. At the end of that, you actually have the first product that you can sell. This might take a day or 2 days. Then what do? Well, then it's a matter of actually selling it to somebody. So how do you do that? You might be asking. It's really easy. All you have to do is make a one-page website. We're not talking about anything complicated with hundreds and thousands of pages. A one-page website where you explain, this is what I'm selling, this is why it's good. And after you've sold a few and you can get a few testimonials, you can say, look at all these happy customers that are below it. And to create that one-page website, there are a lot of cheap or even free tools out there. Squarespace, WordPress, Wix, Go High Level, just to mention a few. If you're over 14 years old, and if you're in high school, most of you are, you can actually create a Stripe and a PayPal account to start receiving payments. And there are even online banks where you can create your own bank account with your parents' permission so that you can collect the payments in there. You can get started with this in just a few hours. And once you have that, once you have the website, once you use AI to even create the content and the images for the website, have the payment module there, all you have to do is go out on your social media or tell your friends and family about it and share it. And you can start making money off of your info product. That's all there is to it. So how do you make the website? You don't have to write the whole thing yourself. So you go into these tools. Again, you can watch a 5-minute YouTube video. If anybody here knows how to use Google Slides, Google Sheets, even something more complicated, just a drag and drop editor of any kind, most of these websites are almost exactly the same thing. So what you do in there is you use this prompt, excuse me. I'm creating a website to sell my name of the product, info product. And remember, this is in the same chat, so they're going to remember what it is. And I need your help with copywriting and a hero image recommendation for the following pages: homepage, sale page, and about us page. Those are usually the minimum I put on a website. If you just want to pick one, say sales page, because that's the only page you need. We put that in there. AI will generate all of the copy, even the structure of wherever to put it. And in that drag and drop editor, you copy and paste, copy and paste. You can even use AI and ChatGPT to create the images for you if you don't have your own images. If you're selling something yourself, I do recommend using at least one image of you so that you can say, hey, I'm the teacher, I'm the creator of this product. Because you're also building a personal brand by building an online business. That's it. So I'm going to take a quick break. One, to stop sharing the screen because I'm going to start sharing another screen. And two, to answer any questions that might have come up before we walk through one quick example of doing this.
Ray, there is a question that did come up. One of the questions here in the chat is, well, what if I don't have any expertise to support an info product?
Great question. Tam, it looks like, right? Um, so there is actually an interesting exercise I do. So I actually have taught thousands of adults to do this, to build their own online education business as well. And there's an exercise I do. So most of us have more knowledge. You don't need expertise. You just need knowledge in a certain area. And let me explain. So I'm going to take a step back. I actually, in addition to doing this, I teach martial arts. I teach a Japanese martial art called Kendo, which is Japanese sword fighting. And there's actually a phrase that we use in Kendo about teaching people. You do not need to be the expert to teach a beginner. You just need to be one step ahead of them. So the phrase in Kendo senpai, which is a more senior student. So literally, if you started Kendo yesterday and a new student came today, you are that student senpai. And you can actually still teach them because you still are one day ahead of them in the journey. Sometimes that's actually a useful thing because somebody's been doing something for 40 or 50 years, sometimes forgets how it is to be somebody who's just starting off. So Tam, don't worry about it if you are not the expert. Do you know how to do, quote unquote, anything, right? Do you know how to add math, 1+1? So you can teach kids who don't know how to add 1+1 together. And that's a valuable skill. If you can play an instrument, you don't have to play in the symphony in order to teach them the basics of the instrument. You might even be better at teaching them the basics there. You might have knowledge. You might have hobbies. You might like TV shows better than they are, and there might be something you can build around that. So that's what a lot of the ideation is in there. So great question. I love it. The point is, you do not need to be an expert in anything in order to do this. You just need to know more than the people you are teaching. I see Tony coming back in, so I'm going to let him talk.
Yeah, there's another question here that popped in as well. Someone asked, can you give an example of a digital product that a student can possibly create?
What a great! I wish I could have planned that, but that's going to be the segue. That's what we're about to do. I'm going to walk you all through creating our first digital product, at least at the high level. The reason I stopped sharing the screen is because I was sharing a portion of the screen, and now I have to share the whole thing. So I have to go back and change some settings before I can share everything else. Okay, so I'm going to go back to sharing the screen, and now we're going to work through it. Could I get a thumbs up in the chat, or a hi, or a hola, or a whatever, just to make sure that everybody can see the screen? There we go. How about this? If you can't see the screen, you leave a comment. There we go. Hi. Thank you, DJ. So what we're going to do here is I also have ChatGPT open over here. This is a paid version, but you do not need a paid version to do our exercises. I'm going to go back in these slides and I'm just going to be copying and pasting from these slides. So you can see I'm not like, I hadn't, prepared this before and the answers that we're going to get out of this are false. I'm going to do this real time with all of you so we can all see how it works. So we go through all of this. Where are we at? Ideation. So I'm going to copy and paste this, and we're going to insert this into ChatGPT. So I'm copying and pasting this. Remember, you'll get a link to this later on, so you don't have to remember all of this. What are some online business ideas I can launch that involve delivering an info product, which can include ebooks, mini video courses, or live teachers over Zoom around your interests? So I'm going to put in my interests. I mentioned kendo, which is Japanese sword fighting. I like playing computer games. I have a 5-year-old son, so Legos. And I like to travel. Traveling. Let me just put a quick spell check in there so we get that right. And I'm going to hit enter. Let's see what it comes up with. Just while it's typing, it's an interesting thing that they updated ChatGPT to be more polite. And it always is really, really saying, thank you, what a great idea. And I actually find that weird from AI. Okay, so here are some ideas it's already given me. Kendo, the beginner's guide to modern Kendo training. Kendo fitness blueprint. That's actually not a bad idea. I don't know if anybody's done that. Kendo fundamentals boot camp, tactical Kendo. You can see what it's doing. How to turn gaming into a career. Huh, I wish that was a thing when I was in high school. Game design for teens, all of these different ideas that are here, right? STEM with Legos, creative building without instructions. Oh, I think I'm going to play with that one. You can see all of these ideas that are here, cross niches, right? It combines ideas and puts together kendo and Legos and all the rest of it. Go through the first initial ideas that come out, and if they're not, you know how it is. It's prompting you these days for different ideas, and you can say, yeah, give me more, talk more about this. So just keep on iterating through this. For the purposes of this exercise, I'm going to say, okay, I went through this, and I actually like creative building of Legos without instructions. I know I just used to do that a lot as a kid, so I think that's why it called out to me. So let's go in there and say, look, I know how to play with Legos. Somebody asked the question earlier of like, what if I don't have any skills? Like, this is the kind of skills I'm talking about. It's just like, do you know how to build Legos? Yeah, awesome. Have you ever built anything cool and creative with Legos without following instructions? Like, that's it. That's all we need here. We're not talking about PhDs of building rockets. Like, this is simple enough. And believe me, I have friends out there who've built $1 million businesses teaching how to play a violin with their left hand. I mean, it's just these really, really niche, really weird ideas. And there are people out there who will pay for them and who will pay you for that. So we're going to go back to the next prompt now that we have that. And I'm going to copy and paste that. So we're going to go back in here. Let's paste it in. My product idea is creative building without instructions, ebook. Well, let's make it a mini course because it said that would work for both. And what can you teach? Offer how to teach creative building. Let's see, what could we teach? How to use incomplete Lego sets to create something new. And if you were like me as a kid, you kept on losing Lego pieces. So you could only build the things once. And then after I built it once and got destroyed, it never got built again. So you always have these incomplete Lego sets. So I'm going to go in there. Let's go into step number 2. Boom. Look at this. It's creating our info product. It's a mini course. It's breaking it down by modules. So we're going to talk about the mindset of a master builder. Mindset is amazingly important. It's something I wish they taught at schools, but they don't do it as much. It's more sorting out the chaos into opportunity, core creative techniques, just moving our way down. Bonus additional stuff, challenges, all this kind of stuff. There you go. It's built our mini course for us. Our mini course is going to have 4 modules. If I had more time, I'd read through it and kind of tweak it based on what I'm looking for and what I want to deliver. But for now, it sounds pretty good. So I'm going to go with this for the course. So what do? We move on to the next step. and we build it out. But before doing that, I forgot a step. I'm going to copy and paste this. So I have another document over here. Let's go in here, put the course in, move everybody's image around, my summer business. Boom. Okay, the boom's taking a lot longer than I thought. There we go. So there you go. I'm copying it all in here because I want to have it all in one document so I don't lose anything. And then I'm going to go here, content, just so I know there's a break. And we're going to take the next one, as I mentioned. Go in here, write out the detailed curriculum for module number, and we're going to fill in the module number. Keep moving your Zoom images around. And we're going to put that here. And of course, I'm going to start with, as logic would dictate, number 1. And done. Remember, it already knows what the course is because it's in the same context window. So we just see it up above. This is all lesson 1. The module is broken down. We're going to talk about introduction to structures. We're going to make a 3 to 5 minute welcome video. Remember, you don't have to do a video. I do recommend it because these days you can charge more for a course with video than just PDF. And it's still infinitely scalable. And it does not have to be a perfectly produced video. Trust me, I've sold courses where I make mistakes, all the rest of it. It's the content, what you're teaching that's important and that your personality comes across. It's not necessarily that everything needs to be picture perfect and has to look like it was filmed in a Hollywood studio. So this is done in here. And look, it even built the resource summary. So these are the kind of resources. You don't have to do all of them, but this is what it recommends that we build. So I'd recommend building at least one of these to include with this part of the course. So you make the videos, you make the content, and you have some of these flip books and worksheets that you can create. Now, we're not going to do it in this workshop, but you can actually have it build that. AI can build that for you too. So you want a life skills infographic, tell it to make one, and make sure it's good. And then you can add that to your course as well. Excuse me, that's the prompt I'm going to share with you guys later. There we go. So I put module 1 is all in here. It's all broken down. So now what you would do is you'd go back and copy and paste that and say, now do it for module 2, then do it for module 3, do it for module 4. And look at that. We have everything planned out for our course. The final thing that I'm going to do on this training is just, let's pretend we did that. The whole course is done. I went on, in my case, so these days, I'm a big fan of the software called Go High Level because it's very easy to use and it actually does a lot of the different things in building a business. A little bit more of a learning curve than maybe Squarespace and Wix, but once you learn it, you can build your whole business around it. It'll do your emails, it'll collect your payments and do all that kind of stuff. You go in there, you create the basic page, and then let's go in here and ask ChatGPT to do the final bit. Go in here for my course name. Still want to copy it. Let's copy and paste that. Then, don't worry about spacing. And we're here. There we go. Homepage is being built. Header. It's going to be big text at the top. Subheader. Call to action. Start building today. So that'll be our button. Hero image. So hero images are those big images that usually go across the top of the page. So it's going to make a recommendation for us of a hero image. So it's a photo of a child or an adult smiling at a random pile of Legos. If you don't have one of those, again, AI can probably do a pretty good job of building that for you. And here's the sales page copy. So it starts talking about what you're going to have there, key benefits to your course based on what we created. All of it's there. About us page, same text. So all you would have to do is copy and paste all of this, drag and drop it, and put it into a website. And boom, you have a website. You know how to collect payments because you can create the Stripe account, and you're all set. All you have to do is now share it with the world. Now, there are multiple marketing techniques, but the first technique that we always say is share it to your social media, tell your friends about it, tell your family about it, because that's the best way, and it's a free way for you to test out whether there's actually any interest in people buying your product. That's it. So if you do all of this, I did it super quickly. I haven't been timing ourselves, but it looks about 30 minutes. We've essentially designed an entire business in less than 30 minutes because I talk a lot. So you could probably have done that a lot faster than what I was doing, right? So that's all there is to it. I'm going to stop sharing and then I'm going to share again to bring the slides back. I did see one question come there. So if you'd like, I'll interrupt to answer the question.
Sure. No, the question that popped in was after a student accomplishes a website and a sale, how can this be leveraged in a college application?
Oh, that's a great question. Let me just share my screen so I don't do two things at the same time and I don't lose the concentration portion of the screen. Boom. Okay. I'll keep that up for a little bit. That's where all of you can download the script. In fact, let me just go in here and share it in the chat with all of you. So while we wait, so you can all go in there. It's going to be a Word document. I mean, excuse me, I'm old. Word document, Google Drive document. So you can go in there. It won't let you edit it, but you just make a copy, store it to your own files, and you're good to go. So how does this help you on the college application? We touched on a little bit of this before, but there's a big difference between working for somebody else in the summer and making minimum wage and having done all of this yourself. AI makes it faster and easier, but it doesn't do it all for you. We're not at the day yet where all you can say is, hey, AI, build me a business, and you click one button and the business is built and it starts making money. You still have to make the website. You're going to have to show yourself that you took the initiative to learn how to do the website. You're going to have to open up your bank account. You're going to have to take the payment. Somebody might have a problem with the payment and you're going to have to resolve the issues. These are all normal parts of running a business. If this works on a bigger scale where you start selling to a lot of people, then you're going to have to learn basics of customer support. You might need to hire somebody, maybe one of your friends at school, to help answer the emails because I have too many emails. So I need somebody to help me do that. These are the kind of stories that most people have to dig deep for when they go into their college applications. I think Coach Tony here can back me up. Essays is one of the big things we teach here at egelloC, right? Having these unique stories about what you did and how you overcame adversity. Now, some of us are lucky or unlucky enough to have this adversity that we've had to come up. I'll be honest, when I was growing up, I was lucky. My dad got his master's and doctorate from Harvard. Like, I mean, I didn't have these big adversity stories. So when I was trying to apply for college and I was trying to come up with these things, I really had to struggle to do it. Trust me, if you launch your own business, you won't struggle. You'll get to the essays and you're like, huh, what part do I check? Talk to Tony. He's the founder here at egelloC. How many stories do you have every single day that you could put on your college application? Like a dozen before noon, right? So this is really what launching your own online business can do. Like you will stick apart, you will have more stories. And it's not only about the stories in the college application. I know in high school, that's what you're focusing on, but these are skills that you're going to use for the rest of your life in every single thing that you do. The college application, if anything, is the first step. It's a big step, but it's the first step that you're going to be taking with all this experience that's here. Did that answer your question? I think. Nope. Alvin asked a bit. Who asked that one? Anita, right?
Yes.
Yep, it was Anita. There we go. So, okay. Glad that helped you out over there, Anita. So I'm just going to finish it up, take us home right now. What are some of the financial benefits? Because look, honestly, in the game of business, I'm going to use a computer game reference because that's what I do. How much money you make is your score, right? And we've seen people who went through a simple program like this and were able to generate $500 a month. Some were able to generate $1,000, $3,000 a month. And I'm not talking just working in the summer. This is something you can run after the summer. You continue doing all year long and you can generate this income. So if you do the math out compared to a summer, this might be more income for you than just a summer job would be. And think about it. If you continue doing this in college, you might even be able to help your parents pay for the university. Maybe not all of it, but maybe just your books. Maybe some of the travel expenses if you go to university a little far away from home, at least. And I know this was good for me. Again, I was washing dishes, so I was not making much money. But going out with friends to eat at a restaurant, like it was nice to be able to do it myself because my parents, while they were educated, they didn't make very much money. So I had to pay for these things myself. So launching your own business in high school can help you pay for that. And who knows, if you continue this after high school, remember, Mark Zuckerberg's launched Facebook from his college dorm room. Imagine if he'd started in high school. Like he would have even had a 4-year head start on everybody else there. So can you start it this summer? Absolutely. We've already talked about this. You don't need investors. You don't need any fancy tech. And you don't need to have like 1 million followers on TikTok. You just need to have a plan, use the script that we have, and AI tools to speed you along the way. But there is one thing that I want to mention. Like a lot of people who go through this get stuck at these points. So most teens and even adults who do this try to figure it all out by themselves. They waste time, they get frustrated, and most importantly, they quit too early. Because while doing this is simple, it's not easy. And a lot of people get those two things confused. Especially when you watch the news and you see somebody launched an app and in 31 days they made $100 million. Let me tell you, the chances of that happening to anybody is about the same as winning a lottery. And it's a lot less work to go to the convenience store and buy a lottery ticket every Sunday. And your chances of winning are about the same. But that doesn't mean you can't generate significant income from this. So one of the reasons that Tony invited me here to talk about it is here at egelloC, we're launching a special program this summer that we've never done before. We're going to do a 4-week incubator, high school summer challenge, where over the 4 weeks, I'm going to work with a select group of students to help them launch their own online business over 4 weeks. Week 1, we're going to help you find a winning business idea. We're going to go through what we did here, but we're going to go into a little more detail, doing something called market research to actually see how many people there are out there that are interested in buying your product before we even build it, right? How cool would it be? How cool is it going to be to find out, hey, 1,000 people are looking this month in real data for whatever it is that I want to sell. And if all I do is sell to 1% of those, I'm going to make this much money. Then we're going to use AI to create your first info product, doing what we did here, but going into a lot more detail. I'm going to walk you through how to build your first website. Again, I mentioned Go High Level. So the course is going to include a free Go High Level account. So you don't even have to pay for it. It's going to be there. We're going to walk you through and send you instructions on how to create your own Stripe account, which is how you collect your payments online. And then we're going to walk you through different ways to launch it and make your first sale by the end of the course. So going back to Anita's college application question, it's not just about I tried launching a business this summer. It's going to show that I did launch a business this summer. And you'll be able to show, look, here's the sales I made. Here's what I learned. Here are the challenges. And here's what I did. If you go into this course with us, you're not only going to get expert lessons, we're going to have weekly live coaching calls, and these are going to be small groups. This is not going to be 100 people on a call. We'll have a private community. We'll be sharing templates and checklists of things that you can do. So we hold your hand every step of the way. So you're not figuring out, you're not doing this alone. Not only do you have me as a mentor, as a peer, but you also have other students that are working with you going through the same process. We're of course going to use AI tools because that's fun and makes things a lot faster. At the end of it, those people who complete it will get a written recommendations from the business coach, which is me, from this, and we will give you an egelloC certificate of completion for this program. But keep in mind, limited number of spaces. This is the first time we're running it, so we don't want to let too many people into this program. So if you're interested, you can apply, and then we're going to talk to you, and we're going to decide who we want to have into this program. So by the end of the summer, you'll have a real business. Going back to Anita's thing again, a standout story for college applications. And you'll have the skills that you'll be able to take with you not only to college, but after college to earn income at any time. And that's something a lot of people never, ever learn in their entire lives. So with that, I'm going to say if you want to join the challenge, there's a link below. You can email us at support@egelloc.com, or you can scan that QR code right over there, and you can contact us through that, and you can apply. Otherwise, if you have any more questions, let me know, and I'd be happy to answer them right now.
Awesome. Really quick, for those who want to, a few questions like, can I get the recording of this call? This is a private training, so if you guys are interested, text our team. The number I put in the chat, 949-775-0865. Oops, not that one. Text the word Ray, R-A-Y, and our team will go ahead and send you guys the replay once it's available. Give us like 48 hours for that as well too. And if you guys are interested, the link, I put the link again, egelloc.com/startup challenge itself there. A few questions here in the chat, Ray. First question is, who can we really sell the product to besides family?
Okay, so the first step that we do is sell it to family and friends. So not just family, because selling the product to your mom and dad is probably not the best way for your family to increase their wealth, right? It's not just them essentially giving you more of an allowance. But with the reason we do the family at the beginning is there's something called product market fit. And we're testing within a warm audience. So if we reach out, and there's actually a methodology to do this, if we reach out to your network, let's say you reach out to 50 people, 100 people, I'll walk you through it. These do not need to be close friends, just people you know. Two things are going to happen. First off, you're going to get some great feedback from these people, because these are people you know about what they like and what they don't like about the product. So we can iterate. Easy, right? Because it's a digital product. So we don't need to get it right the first time. This is not the days where, you write your book and you publish it and there are 10,000 copies and then you notice there's a spelling mistake. So you can't fix it because you already have 10,000 copies. We fix it, you're good to go. And we make these tweaks. So that's step number one. Now, it's not in the scope of this course because we only have 4 weeks. But once you've done that, people out there are willing to get your product. Then we're going to give you this primer, a list of 12 different ways that you can market it to a more general public. So generally speaking, Tony will tell you, I love this stuff. I geek out about it. There's 3 ways to sell a product. One is to buy an audience, one's to borrow an audience, one's to build an audience. Buying an audience is generally paid ads. So you just go out there, you can go to Facebook, you can go to Google, and you can say, here, take my money, send me traffic, I can sell it. It's the fastest way, but it's also the highest risk because you have to kind of figure things out in order to do it. There's borrowing an audience, which is kind of the middle of the road where you reach out with your network if you know other people who already have it, and you can get in front of them. So you can say, hey, I have a friend who's got 500 emails. Can you send it out to them? And I'll give you 10% of my sales. Or I have an uncle who's kind of famous in this area. Could I do a little video with him and share it on his YouTube channel? Those kind of things. So that's kind of the borrow audience thing. And then the final one is the build audience. And there are multiple ways of doing it. Of course, social media, build up a TikTok, Instagram following, and you can do that. That's almost free. It just takes a lot longer to do. It's what I would recommend you do, is probably that path for most of the high school kids as far as like growing it out. One, because you have a longer time horizon. And two, you probably don't have tens of thousands of dollars to be spending on ads and getting them wrong until you finally get it right. That's what I did for my first few businesses, and 2 of them got to 7 figures. I used something called SEO, which is search engine optimization. It takes time. It took about 6 months to a year for me to start getting consistent customers, and it was about creating content and backlinks. But once you do it, the customers are free, and it's really hard for somebody to take it away. Same thing if you have a YouTube following. Once you get to a certain level, you'll be able to do it. Hopefully that answers your question. Did I miss anything, Tony? Tony's not there. I will go over here and take a look at the chats. Yes. So our starting dates, I believe, let's see, did he say when it was? If there's enough demand, we can have more starting dates. Currently, I believe we are scheduled to start in the middle of June. So about June 15th, June 16th. There we go. So we can actually have more if there's enough demand. As I mentioned, this is just our first iteration, and we want to see what everybody wants. So if everybody says, hey, let's start in July, luckily I'm not on I don't have summer break. I'm working all the time. So I'll be here in June. I'll be here in July. I will not be here in November because I'm going to Japan to practice sword fighting. But other than that, I would absolutely, I think that date, Natalie, is exactly, I think that's it. So let us know what you want, and we'd be happy to do our best to accommodate you. Any other questions before we finish it up for the night? I say night because I'm on the East Coast, so I'm 3 hours ahead of you. Oh, somebody just popped in. Oh, mid-July possibly. Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you, everybody. Hopefully you found it useful. Remember, follow that link to get the AI prompt so you can start working through this yourself. If you missed anything, you will get a recording of this if you're part of our group, since this is a private training. And if you need anything else, just reach out to us at support@egelloC.com. If the question specifically for me, just say, hey, I have a question for Ray, and they'll pass me the email, and I'd be happy to answer it for you. Thanks again, and everybody have a great night.